I'm sure you've heard it said, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. But I've also heard it said, happy spouse, happy house. Hi, this is Barry from the 10-Minute Torah, day 5 of Teitze, when you go out. And we're going to finish up this week in Deuteronomy chapter 24. Verse 5 says, when a man has taken a new wife, let him not go out into the army, nor let any matter be imposed upon him. He shall be exempt for 1 year for the sake of his home, to rejoice with his wife whom he has taken. All of the married folk in our listening audience will readily testify that when you take a spouse, when you've entered into marital bliss, life changes so dramatically in ways that no matter how much you think you were prepared, you are not prepared. And I don't necessarily say that in a negative connotation. It's just that marriage is such a profound, well, what's the big word? Incredible, I guess, life experience. There's no way you can gear up for it. I mean, a young man, he's got it all in his head about the day-to-day routine and how it's going to be when he comes home in the evening, and he and the wife, the new bride, have their evenings together. She's thinking about how she's going to set up the house and how she's going to manage things. And those two plans and dreams, though they may have been discussed, they don't always mesh out exactly so. So a couple needs time. They need, this says, a year. You possibly could get started in a year, but you have to experience life together through all of the seasons and all of the seasonal changes of life, going through the celebrations of as a couple, not as an individual, and experiencing day-to-day routines consistently. The teaching here is before one goes into warfare, you need to establish your house. So the principle is establishing a home with your wife takes precedent over warfare. Many a movie and many a personal story would involve someone, a young soldier, taking a spouse, getting married, and just after a day or two of honeymoon, they're on transport headed to a battlefield, and the spouse is left here wondering, will they come home? My own parents, that's their story. Married in November, and I think my dad, if I'm not mistaken, shipped out to Korea back in the 50s. I think he said in February, but in that interim time was boot camp. So they didn't have very much time together. And if I'm not mistaken, it's somewhere between 15 and 18 months that they were separated. I have a brother that's been in military as a career, and he has been deployed several times. And coming home, he's told me about it's a struggle. He said, my wife and my kids, they've changed. They've lived without me for a period of time. They've learned to deal with situations. I've been in other situations, and we come back, and it's like we have to figure out how to repiece the family back together. The principle here, however, is family and home is the foundation from which effective warfare can be conducted. So in this audience, we're not talking about so much armed combat as rather we're talking about spiritual warfare. Uh, I wish somebody had taught me this, that before you go into ministry, you need a year with your wife. I would have greatly, Laura and I both would have greatly benefited from that advice. No one gave us that advice. In those days, it's go preach the word, boy. Win them souls and go, go, go. And we went. And I can look back and see that the Torah's wisdom is prime. It should have been followed. So when I or you engage into a spiritual situation where it's aggressive, you're combating spiritual forces of darkness. You need to know that your home life is that which will support, encourage, and be a solid foundation for you. It's hard to rebuke demons and cast demons out and tear down strongholds and pray through piercing dark places and seeing light shine through. It's really tough to do that when there's a problem at home. A counterattack of the adversary would be to try to drive a marital wedge between the partners, to upset children in the house, to cause financial distress, to counteract or counterattack with sickness or an attempt at that. So you need to know we're on the same page. And my husband or my wife is not rolling their eyes when I go into my prayer chamber. I hope he don't stir up things again. We just barely got through the last mess he got into. That doesn't need to be the case. There needs to be love and strong support and partners that pray together, that you pray in agreement, that you walk in agreement. And so we find the instructions that Rav Shaul gave to us in 1 Timothy chapter 3. And he says in verse number 2, an overseer, one who is over a congregation, then should be blameless, the husband of one wife, sober, sensible, orderly, kind to strangers, able to teach, not given to wine, no brawler, but gentle, not quarrelsome, and not a lover of silver, one who rules his own house well, having his children in subjection with all reverence. For if a man does not know how to rule his own house, how shall he look after the assembly of Elohim? Having the home as a solid base is imperative. I am aware enough that many folks, you struggle in home life situations. Maybe you have adult children that have not agreed with the walk that you've chosen. Maybe you have parents that they're shaking their heads. How did you get there when we taught you over here? Maybe even a spousal discord. It's not what it should be. Take some time and build up the home. Do all you can to solidify the foundation of family life. That has a priority. The demons will be there. The darkness is going to be there. The battle's not going anywhere. But you need to have, I must have, a complete set of armor on. And where there's contention and strife and discord in the house, it's chinks in your armor. May Yah solidify the families. May Yah bring harmony into our homes and enable us to have wise words instead of biting words. Healing gestures instead of demonstrating who's boss. May Yah help us. And I say this because it's stuff, and everybody's got stuff, and sometimes the stuff, it's in the house. May the grace of Yah be upon you as you gather for Shabbat, as you observe this set-apart day of rest. May the King sit with you. These days, the adage is, the King is in the field. Well, may he come and sit at the table. May you find his presence. May you find his wisdom. May this Torah portion speak to you and grant to you great shalom. Until next week, Shabbat shalom.